So I'm sitting with Charl Fick, the Reserve Manager at Tala Collection Private Reserve. It's been really great. We've been here, we arrived last night, stayed at the Fisherman's Cottage, and it's been absolutely fantastic. A great morning of birding. We're sitting at one of your new picnic sites. It used to be, what place did this used to be called? Where we're sitting now?
Forest venue for weddings. It still is used, but not too common. People obviously prefer the general sort of wedding venues.
Yeah, and it's got some really cool birds. I mean, it's nice. I'm sure you'll get fluff-tailed and that here. It's a nice spot. I think if you're a birder, it's probably quite a nice place to fish in. So tell us a little bit about Tala Reserve.
So Tala Reserve is about 3,200 hectare reserve, based pretty close to Durban and Maritzburg alike. It has a variety of game on the property, from your general plains game, blesbuck, inyala, impala, wildebeest, giraffe, hippo, rhino, as well as a variety of reptiles, insects. So basically any person who's interested in any sort of the outdoor aspect can come here and enjoy their day at Tala.
I think what's great about Tala is there's some really fantastic facilities, and we were just chatting before we came here. I think a lot of birders, when they go to a certain place, especially when they go with their families, it's almost like the place is great for birds, but it doesn't have other facilities. But I think Tala has other facilities, so you can bring your family here. There's nice animals, there's great birding. So tell us about some of the facilities that the reserve offers.
Okay, so facility-wise, we have the very, very famous in terms of the whole eThekwini area is definitely the rock pool area. Even I remember that pool area from being a kid and growing up and coming here quite often with family. It no longer does look like a rock pool. During lockdown, they actually revamped the whole thing and put a bit of money into there and really uplifted the whole place. Besides the rock pool area, which is our main picnic site, we have this little one that we just started down here for people that don't really want to be in the hustle and bustle of the crowds and everything else. We also have different activities and things like that. So if people come, they can go on game drives if they don't want to utilize their own vehicles. Otherwise, most of our main roads are fine for your everyday sort of vehicles, low cars, everything else like that. We have other activities as well. We have the Segway activities where the guys can go on Segway tours, they can do archery, they can do paintball. With all these things are out in the bush, so you always have an opportunity while you're out there to see animals and birds and everything else while you're out there. We also obviously have various accommodations at Tala.
And then in terms of your game drives, so how knowledgeable are your guides of the bird life that the park has to offer?
They're relatively knowledgeable. Obviously every now and again you will get something come through and it does confuse the guys. I mean, you guys should know your LBJs and things like that confuse everyone every now and again. But generally, no, they're quite good. They're accredited for guides. They've been here, I think Milton, as far as I know, Malusi, he's our head guide. He's been here since I think 2007 or 2008. So they know the landscape very well. They know the birds very well, especially the birds that are generally here all the time.
And then in terms of accommodation options, we stayed, like I said at the beginning, we stayed at Fisherman's Cottage last night. What accommodations options are available?
Okay, so we've got various accommodations, as I said just now. So we have like the Fisherman's, like you said, which is a self-catering accommodation. We have another lodge called Leadwood Lodge, which is exclusive to adults only. We don't allow kids there, which is also nice for the people that don't have kids and don't like screaming babies and things like that in the middle of the night. So you can go down there. You can actually stay at the manor house itself, or you can go on to various cottages that we have there. And literally every cottage, number one is on a dam. So you literally step out on your balcony. If you step off your balcony, you step into water. So amazing for bird life and animals alike, because I mean, they'll come and drink and everything else like that. There are 5 other cottages along the river in that area there, and they're literally all along the river, as I said. Very quiet, very secluded. You don't actually know there's a neighbor next to you, which is lovely. Then we also have our paper bark accommodation, which is our more popular one. It holds a lot more people than Leadwood. It has kids, has a garden area, and it's generally very nice. Both lodges do have their own restaurants on site as well, so people don't actually have to drive from a lodge and go and drive somewhere else. They can literally just walk across the lawn and have dinner, lunch and breakfast right there.
I think it was great here this morning. We did some birding in the morning, and at about 9 o'clock we headed and had a breakfast, and it was a well-priced breakfast. For a lot of people might think a place like Tala, they might think, "Yo, it's expensive," but it was a well-priced breakfast, great service, and the food was really good. And I think the restaurant options are really good at the reserve does offer.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, the food, the quality is great. The chefs are great. The staff that are looking after you are great. Hospitality is excellent from Tala's side, at least.
And the reserve is self-drive. Are guests allowed to drive around at night? If not, And if there were birders that wanted to see some of the nocturnal species, are they able to make arrangements to go on a night drive?
Okay, so generally we don't allow driving at night. At the moment, our gate times are 7 to 6. Obviously, it's getting dark at 5:30, so you have a bit of leeway to drive around at night to an extent until the time is cut off for you. We do also allow people to drive. Like I said, we have the restaurant at the lodges, but let's say people don't have kids and they want to go to Leadwood for the night from Paperbark, they are allowed to drive there and go to the restaurant, but we don't generally allow them to go off the main roads and things like that and go exploring by themselves. We haven't as yet had any sort of night drive, people asking for night drives to go looking for nocturnal species or like little jackal or other little nocturnal creatures yet, but it definitely can be arranged. I mean, if the popularity is there and people are wanting it, I mean, I don't see why we couldn't do it.
So here's the big question. The birding life is obviously a birding podcast. So we've spoken about some of the animals that are available, but tell us, why should a birder visit Tala Game Reserve?
In my opinion, birders should visit here because, especially, you know, it's very close to Durban and Maritzburg alike. I mean, you got less than an hour from either side. You can, if you don't get up early enough, if you spend half your morning and decide, well, what should I do today? And I haven't done anything the whole morning, you can jump in your car, pack up quickly. It takes you less than an hour to pack up, less than an hour, and you spend a bit of time and head home again. I mean, that's definitely our biggest draw card, is the fact that we're so close to quite big metropolitan areas, and people don't have to plan and budget for, you know, a hectic fuel tank levy or anything like that. They can just jump in their car and shoot you. It's generally quite a cheap day out. So it's got, like I said, it's got your general sort of birds in the area. A couple of rarities that have come through is lesser jacana, lesser spotted eagle. We've got some gorgeous bushwracks that pop up here quite often, which is quite a nice bird to see. I mean, often heard more than seen. We've got quite an array of raptors here, from your marshall eagles to your crowned eagles. I mean, just the other day I had a crowned eagle where I live on the reserve actually take out a monkey in full view of everything, which is quite amazing to see. I mean, it might not be a rarity as such, but definitely the opportunities are there to see some really cool situations happening and unfold right in front of you.